This is a new book that I've started writing, and I got this idea from the light orbs that I'm taking so many pictures of. I decided they would make a good backdrop. I've always wanted an artist to illustrate some of the things that I want to write a book about. And then I realized, well, I have that artist. It's the orbs. There's no greater art, I don't think, than the light that they show in these orbs. Anyway, so that is the backdrop for all this, and I will read you what is on this page to begin with. This is a story told in light, a story of the light, to all who listen who are also light, for the purpose of increasing the light. The artwork is by orbs. These pages are close-up shots taken with a digital camera, close up inside of an orb. Well, some of them aren't as close up, but all of these photos used in this production are of light reflected through the medium of orbs. The contents and words and art, all of it, I'm giving you the right to copy. Please share and redistribute far and wide. This story is a collection of wise sayings and warnings given by mystics of old and present-day mystics as well. Now, these first words are from Walter Russell in his book, The Secret of Light, which is one of the books I'm going to be offering to anyone who would like it. I can send it to your email address if you let me know what that email address is. It is called The Secret of Light. And I read now from that. I, the one whole, am knowing mind. I exist to think. All thinking is light of my knowing, but my thinking is not me. I am creator, creating with my thinking. Out of my light of knowing are my two lights of thinking, formed as sexed pairs of opposites for repetition, as sexed pairs of opposites. To think is to create. I create with light. Nothing is which is not light. I think ideal in the two sexed lights of my thinking, and form is born in the image of my thinking. Form has no existence, nor have my imaginings. These exist not, for they are not me. I alone existeth, I, the all. I create my imaged body with the inbreathing of my pulsing universe of me. My universe is my image, but my image is not me. All things are my image, but they are not me, even though I am in them and they in me. And now, I wrote this part. The newest and the oldest frontier that man must inform himself about is light. This information will prove to be vital to the well-being of all mankind. Most people think that all we really need is a free energy source and our problems would be solved. More than the love of power, we must develop our power of love, for it is required before we will be given unlimited power. Walter Russell wrote, "New information periodically transforms mankind into higher beings. Civilization progresses in cycles. A new cycle of 3,000 years duration is now in the birth throes. Love, true love, is no namby-pamby feeling of emotion. True love is the most powerful force there is. It is a binding, cohesive force that holds everything together. It has only one law, only one. That law is rhythmic, balanced interchange. Our world is in need of this understanding now." And more words from Walter Russell. Man is forever finding the light and forever is being transformed by finding it. Gradually he finds the self of him, which is the light. God is light and we are of that light. The unfoldment-refoldment principle repeats all patterns in nature sequentially and records them and voids them as they are repeated. Walter Russell says in his book, The Secret of Light, which is another book you can ask me for, I can send it to you. He says that the two greatest elements of civilization, religion and science, will find unity in marriage of the two. This unity will be understood when we know the nature of light. Its unfoldment will prove the existence of God by methods and standards acceptable to science and religion alike. It will lay a spiritual one under the present material one of science. These two conditioned lights in seeming motion, which record God's one whole ideal of creation into countless seemingly separate parts of that whole ideal. Now, in the next chapters of this book, the next ones that will be forthcoming, I hope to show you more and more about how light folds and unfolds and refolds over and over again. For light is all there is. And we'll learn about the avoidance principle and the mirrors and lenses of space that are the cause of the illusion of all moving things. And man must understand the nature of light. We must obey God's one law, only one. It is spelled out with just those three words: rhythmic, balanced interchange. Rhythmic balanced interchange is the one fundamental universal law in which lies the balanced continuity of all creative expression in God's electric wave universe of two conditioned lights in seeming motion, which record God's one whole ideal of creation into countless seemingly separate parts of that whole ideal. And then I added these words: we are all one. We are all entangled together with one another. We are our brother's keeper because we are our brother. Now, I inquired as to what is an atom? And I remembered in school being taught that the atom was made of the protons and electrons and neutrons. But there's so much more. So, in this part I did a little research and gathered some information of what physicists today are saying about light. So, the question now is, what is an atom made of? The agreed upon consensus is that atoms are made of electrons, neutrons, and protons. But there is more to know about the atom. Richard Gerber, in his book entitled Vibrational Medicine, describes all matter as frozen light. According to him, it is light which has been slowed down and become solid. Also, that our bodies are made of light, which maintains the characteristics of light, which means they have frequency. Gerber says that atoms are mostly empty space. What fills that space are packets of light that sometimes act as matter. Nobel Prize winner David Bohm, in writing about this holographic universe, presents a concept that suggests that the entire universe is an ever-changing cosmic hologram that is layered with information, the highest order being thought to be consciousness, and that consciousness filters wave-like into form. Being holographic, every segment contains information about the entire universe. This consciousness is in everything, and light is both the medium and the message. If this be true, then our physical body is an energy field, and our world is an unbroken wholeness. Bohm also stated that at the subatomic level, all points in space are essentially the same, and therefore nothing is actually separate from anything else. Walter Russell says, that the matter of earth is the same as the matter of the heavens, but with but one difference: volume. And therein lies the secret of the universal pulse beat. Space is a division of solidity into tenuity. It is also a multiplication of volume at the expense of potential. Interchange between these two unbalanced opposites is the basis for all motion in this rhythmic universe. We must raise the vibration of the physical atom. Our ascension depends on this. The use of love is our clue to the ascension. According to Margaret-Storm, in her book entitled The Return of the Dove, which I interject here, I can send you that book as well as The Secret of Light. I read both of those books on my YouTube channel, so you can also look. I will put the playlist over in the discussion bar, and you can click on it and hear the entire book if you wish. Now, back to the words. According to Margaret-Storm in her book entitled The Return of the Dove, it is only the use of love that will raise the vibration of the atom in a natural way. She says if there is any discord shown toward matter, toward a physical atom, it is impossible to raise the vibration. Discord lowers vibration. Then only by using brute force can matter be used. If we lovingly call forth the God substance which forms the nucleus of the atom, then the atoms will open like budding flowers, freeing the imprisoned light at the center of the atom, which is a light which has gained in brilliance because of its service to the planet. This atomic vibration raises the material density to light. Emanations of selfishness and rebellion and negatively refusing to trust in the God power creates a self-generated poison which spreads around the earth and forms a thick blanket of murky gray substance, which to this day still clings to every object, even to the individual atoms. It penetrates within the shell of the atom and clogs the space between the electrons, thereby slowing down the revolution of both electrons and atom. We must lovingly call forth the God substance which forms the nucleus of the atom. Atoms will open like a budding flower, freeing the imprisoned light at the center of the atom. This light in the center of the atom has gained in brilliance because of its service to the planet. This atomic vibration, raised by love, raises the material density to light. We must use the gift of God of the violet flame. Imagine this violet flame washing over every electron, every atom. Call it forth. It is our privilege to do so, so call it forth. We want to know this light. Will we heed the advice of saints and sages throughout our history who have shed light on this subject of light? Just what is it? Is the atom composed of light? Are we made of light, and do we each individually have a frequency? How important is it that we raise our frequency? What exactly is expected of us? What can we expect to happen to us and to our world if we neglect so great an understanding? Another thing Walter Russell said, one cannot for one moment remove his seeking eyes from his high heaven, for ever so slight a glimpse below into the dark brings him back to the fears of the dark, which tempt him to plunge back into them. And about this rhythmic, balanced interchange between all pairs of opposite expressions in natural phenomena and in human relations, it is the consummate art of God's universe of light. And I will interject a little here. Right now, in human relations, we don't have balance. We have such a disparity between the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. And it is just like with the disparity in the pressures of air, when hot air and cold air meet, if it can cause tornadoes if there's too much disparity between the two opposites. And this is something very rarely do you hear them talking about it when they're talking about politics. Our politicians need to understand the principle of rhythmic, balanced interchange, because it has to happen between nations of this earth. And right now, it isn't. And it is sad to say that our own country, the U.S., is a lot responsible for the imbalances between our country and other countries. And we have to face up to this and see what we can do to change it. But first of all, we've got to be aware of it. Now, Margaret-Storm further explained that emanations of selfishness and rebellion and negatively refusing to trust in the God power of the flames has created a self-generated poison. I'll interject a little here. She talked about how this world was once a paradise, and the flames rose from the earth, and everyone could see them and use them. But with the introduction of negativity and selfishness and rebellion, the flames ceased to raise from the earth, and now we have to work with the atoms and use brute force to cause anything to happen that before was not hard to do. You just spoke to the atoms lovingly. But anyway, she was talking in her book about this poison spreading around the earth, and it formed a thick blanket of murky gray substance, which to this day still clings to every object, even to the individual atoms. It also penetrates within the shell of the atom and clogs the space between the electrons, thereby slowing down the revolution of both electrons and atom. This affects the tempo of livingness in everything on the globe, everything, mineral, vegetable, and animal bodies. Human brain tissue, she explained, was once sunshine yellow, but it became contaminated with the emanations of emotional frenzies of hatred, resentment, pride, astral maya. When your electrons and atoms are revolving slowly, you are subject to disease, and not only disease, but delusion as well. She explained how a scientist seeking to ferret out the secrets of atomic power can only react according to the limitations he has imposed upon his own atomic structure. He therefore seeks to enslave the atom, just as he has enslaved his own atoms that he lives with every day. He can think of atomic power only in terms of fission and fusion. He wants to split the atom, to tear it apart by brute force, to strip it bare, as one would strip the skin off of an orange. His way is the way of hate, of fear, and of snickering smugness. If an individual is making no effort to transmute his karma and to keep the atomic structure of his lower bodies clean and free from astral debris, then he will not be able to cope with the situation of daily living in the new age. The increased tempo will bring out whatever is within each individual state of consciousness. If the vibratory note is one of poise and peace, that note will sound and resound with the expanding strength and beauty. If the vibratory note is one of violence and anger, the individual, harried by the pressure of the new tempo, will express his state of consciousness as best he can. He may seize a gun and start shooting, or a knife and start slashing. He may jump in his car and drive fast and furious over the highways, bringing death and destruction in his wake. He may seek out a peddler of drugs. But mostly, the average person will do none of these things. Most likely, he will just sit and talk and talk and talk. He may appear to be talking about the state of the world economically and politically. Actually, he is vocally expressing the confused state of his own troubled heart, even though he speaks about the troubles of the Near East or Russia or the Pentagon. He is sounding his vibratory note, and his vibratory note is always the same doleful moan, the note of crucifixion. To raise the vibrations of our atoms to the ascension frequency, we must let go, let go, let go of all our pet peeves. For energy misqualified is energy held in darkness. And we are light, and we are one with one another. Will we flow together in love? Will we see our brothers and sisters as ourselves? Will we choose love? Will you enter this world with me, this world of the orbs? This is only chapter 1, with more to follow. It is a story in process, revealed in light. It is a liquid world of layer upon layer of mysteries, which will be revealed in the process. Please leave comments and take part in this unfolding story. And now I will interject a little words additionally and say that I can give you, if you give me your email address, I can give you The Secret of Light and The Return of the Dove by Margaret-Storm. And in that book, if you're interested in Nikola-Tesla, the second part of her book is pretty much about him. She must have been a real close friend of his because she knew so much about him. So anyone interested in him, they would like that book. And I just want to say that I have been looking at these orbs and thinking, this is something. I know it's something. And I thought, what could it be? And I have thought that it was orgone, and maybe it is. Maybe it is dark matter. Maybe it is what people call, what's the word for it? Trying to think of the word. The ethers. That's the word. Maybe it is. I know what to say about how I get it. I have to get this light, this color, out of the darkness. When I film the orbs, I can't have everything light. I can't have light coming in the windows because then it puts too much light in the room. And you have to see this light through the medium of there being darkness around it. So this is light that is revealed by the darkness. And when you think about it, that is dark is the shadow that defines the light. Light can't show itself against a light background. It's just impossible. So, not to be afraid of the dark, but to work with the dark, and to not see the dark as evil. When the dark is very dark, it's just a lack of knowledge. It's ignorance. And so you don't hate ignorance, but you bring the light to the ignorance. And that is dark will be the shadow in the picture of the light that makes the colors show up. So it's really all, the two work together very well, light and dark. And there are mysteries to be found out. When you decide to listen to all of the other chapters I will be adding to this, you can give me your ideas in the comment section and questions, and we can ask the light. We can ask that it be revealed to us, because I think that anything you really want to know, if you don't doubt that you can know, if you have more than just a mere curiosity, but you really intently want to know, and you're not afraid of knowing, even if it destroys some old concepts and beliefs and dogmas that you once held to so dearly, you got to be willing to let go of that, because that is what is holding a lot of people back. They're afraid of the unknown, and they think that what they know is true, and what they know may be wrong, and a lot of times it is, especially when it's dogma from different holy books, because most of those holy books were allegory. They weren't meant to be taken literally, and people have taken them literally, and therefore they're confused. So I will be adding more chapters to this, and I hope I get some participation from some of you who will leave comments and your words of encouragement or your words that explain what you think this light might be. I'm not saying I absolutely know what it is. I have been told by many that people around me that don't seem to be impressed at all. I've been taking all these beautiful pictures, and right in my room I said, all this stuff is right all around us. It's right there. And I found a way of showing it up in pictures. And absolutely almost no interest, except in a few of my people that I know from communication on internet who have shown some interest in this. And I'm going to keep on making the videos and showing you these pictures of light. And if it is part of it is something that is in my camera, I know there are little pieces of debris in my camera. There's no doubt there is that. But there is something else. This light is showing us something, and I want to work with it. And anybody else that will work with it, I want your input. So please leave comments if you care to. And together we can explore this really interesting phenomena of light. And this is the Dove Lady, over and out.